Okay, I'm back. And this is usually the time I would have got here anyway. I left a poll here. If you liked, followed, and shared and commented. I don't remember what I put it in. Anyway, I kind of mentioned before to follow me on Substack. So it's one word, Trinity Esoteric Truth Radio at Substack. I do articles there. I write there, especially in between times I have to do lives. I really feel like this is going to be a rare thing. And no offense to anybody, really people don't come here. And I spend sometimes 3 hours. And then I have to like upload it. It's a lot of work. Anyway, I'm not saying I'm going to stop. I'm just saying I'm going to try to like, do a bunch of different things. Because trying to stick to one thing is really getting on my nerves. Anyway, in case you missed it from the last video, I'm not with my hat and my t-shirt today. I had something to do. I rushed. Like I said before, I broke my ring camera, my ring light. I have it up there, but it's missing the thing. So if my lighting looks like shit, there's nothing I can do about it. Anyway, okay. As you already know, I don't do topics everybody else is going to do. Now, here's what happened. Because I came late, I'm so thankful that I usually do my stuff and I leave it in a notepad. So I'm actually going to have to go off the notepad. I really thought I was going to have a lot of time. I have none. I haven't even eaten yet. So I'm going to cover this. I think there's only one article that I'm going to read. Even though I have my stuff in sections, I'm going to just like go one at a time. And you guys are already used to me just going off and reading certain things. But it's usually articles. This one, I really didn't have to do too many articles because I don't think I'm going to be here for 3 hours. Don't quote me on that. But today is really not going to be that kind of day. I would like to go put on my hat and my t-shirt. But then I wouldn't be back. I would definitely go get some food and lay down. All right. I'm going to wait. Oh, shit. No, I'm not. Anyway. Okay. Of course, I have this giant. Hold on. Okay. So. Okay. Because I'm trying to get my head right. I'm usually more prepared than this. Okay. So there's a chick. Her name is, I'm not going to spell it. I'm not going to pronounce it right. I never do. You guys should be used to that by now. Karen Shuliak. Right? Okay. Let me tell you who she is. Because nobody's talking about her. Everybody should be talking about her. So, she was Jeffrey Epstein's girlfriend. Everybody think Ghislaine Maxwell was. Because they always had pictures. She was with him for 10 years, and there's only a handful of photos of her, which is super weird, right? Like, she was in the shadows. Okay, I'm going to tell you why, by the way. So, okay, so this is how tight they were. They, when he was locked up, they sent, every person he called was her. Anyway, everybody he called was her. They sent letters. The last call he made before he committed suicide was her. So, okay. She was all in the business. All of it. When he died, he left her everything. The island, Zorro Ranch, millions upon millions of dollars. And let me say something. I think it's kind of weird. If she has everything, she has to be part of the estate. That's putting out the files, right? That would make sense if she was, yeah. Anyway, so apparently I did something the other day where I said that the ranch got sold by a company called San Rafael Ranch, LLC. I tried to find out if she sold it to them. So apparently her getting the stuff is still being processed, or she's got to go through some steps, or you know how it is. Anyway, so I can't find out. It's still saying that it's sold. There's a gap missing that I can't seem to find. Does that matter? Absolutely not. What matters is that she has it. She has everything. It doesn't even matter if she doesn't get the ranch. She has everything else. Let me tell you a little bit about her. So, okay. Remember I wrote this down? It's in a notepad. So the label that they gave her, everybody knew who she was. Everybody. But nobody talked about her. Here's why. Her nickname was Inspector? Jesus Christ. Yes. Okay. Because she was everything. She was pretty much like the whatchamacallit, like the Gal Friday, you know what I mean? She did everything. His schedules, the books, the money, everything. She did it. If they don't call her in, the fact that they're not mentioning her is a problem, right? If there's anybody that's a co-conspirator, it's her. You want to know who's probably the one that's redacted everywhere? Her. Why would she not be? Why would she not be? Ow. Anyway, okay, we're going to get past that. Okay, this is the stuff that she got when he died. The New York City townhouse, the Florida estate, Zorro Ranch, and potentially hundreds of millions of dollars. Cash bequests, direct financial allocations specified in trust documents, estimated to $100 million. That's fun. Oh, she got jewelry and personal items, including a 33-carat diamond engagement ring, and then other nonsense they're talking about. 33 carats, dude, an engagement ring. So, was he gonna marry her? Like, does that matter? No. You know how I am. I'm just thinking out loud. Anyway, so I already said that the ranch got sold. Okay. Even though the ranch got sold, they're trying to, in New Mexico, where the ranch was at, there's, the higher ups over there are trying to start something called the Trust Commission. They want to know what was happening on the island, on the ranch. And I don't mean just now. I'm saying forever. Ever since that first guy came out and said he knew where the bodies were buried, literally, and they've been trying to get investigated. So, here's the thing. Even though she owns, I'm telling you, I think she still owns it. Anyway, let's say the company, San Rafael Ranch, LLC. Okay. And I can't find out who owns that, by the way. No. Okay. Even though they're still trying to get on there, they can't anymore. Because San Rafael Ranch is rebuilding. They're demolishing it and they're building it back up. So whatever the hell is there, that trust commission cannot go there. And even if they did, everything will be gone. So I thought that was a pretty cute setup. Assholes. Okay. Okay, so Farnia, whatever. Anyway, let's say his girlfriend, because I'm not going to keep doing that. Okay, she's named more than 40,000 times so far, more than that, in the files. Now, I'm going to assume it was before the 3 million, because obviously I had to write this down, but I didn't really get into it just yet. Anyway, okay. So she's from Belarus, right? Okay, that means something. Okay. So, okay. He hired her as an assistant in the beginning, and then they started hooking up, and then they stayed together long term. She's from Belarus. Not only did he bring her here, he brought her to the U.S. He paid for her school. He gave the family money, and he took her to he paid for her to become a dentist. Okay. What were the first photos that we saw that we were like, that's creepy as hell? Was the rooms, and they had like the little masks and the dentist chairs. And I'm thinking it was a massage chair. It's not. It's not. It's a dentist chair. I'm telling you, she's so in it. It's terrifying. And people got to get over that. Everybody's like, oh, women just don't do that. Women could be cruel as shit. Like, we can't keep ignoring that. And that's for everything. That's not a new thing. I did a show a couple of years back called the Female Illuminati. So you should check that out. Anyway. Okay. So apparently he gave the family, he gave her dad $25,000 in 2014 and $15,000 in 2013 to her mom. So it says that he had a passport to go to Belarus, right? He has the passport, but they don't have a flight log of him ever going there. Now, does that mean anything to us anymore? Absolutely not. You don't need, what did I tell you? Can you hear it? The ambulance? I told you. That's why I had to close the balcony. Anyway, okay. So it's saying no flights were able to be found. That doesn't matter. The flights that can be found, please understand nobody's talking about this nonsense. Apparently, he was going to Russia, and then from Russia, he was going to Belarus. If he did it that way, he doesn't need paperwork. There doesn't have to be anything. Nobody gives a shit. Anyway. So, okay. Oh, so while he was in Russia, he was working with this bank. I'll find it in a minute. And, how you call it? They started noticing nonsense was happening because there was some kind of exchange over time worth $1 billion, right? And you know, back in the day, $1 billion was way more than it is today. And it was in Russia. Okay. I really thought, okay, I'm just going to check because there's no way I left that empty. There's no way I left it that empty. This is what happens when you don't do your shit. That's not my fault. I'd actually prefer it if I was in my hat and t-shirt right now. Okay. All right. Anyway, that's besides the point. It's kind of the point. It's kind of the point. Okay. Anyway, I can't find it. But can I? No, I can't. Okay, anyway, Jesus Christ. Okay, anyway. All right. So he had gotten in trouble with the banks and stuff like that. Well, not in trouble per se, but they started like finding some stuff out. So remember, he met her. Well, see, okay, that's the thing. I don't know if they met while he was in Belarus, but there's kind of like a rumor that Maxwell had something to do with it, like bringing her. And then they got introduced, and then they so-called fell in love or whatever. Because if you look at some of the files, especially exchanges, especially one specific exchange between him and somebody that he attempted to traffic, and it didn't work out, but she had kind of brought up that he had promised her like a job, and it didn't work out, so she left. She thanks him for giving her money and bringing her to the States. But she also said that she was still upset with him because he wanted to buy her baby when the baby was 6 months. And then when she said no, years later, he had offered to financially help her boyfriend out. It's that's some just straight drama. But anyway, it sounds like something he would do, right? So he had ties with the bank. Okay, check this word out. It's called compromat. Compromat. I don't speak Russian. Anyway, it's Russian. Okay. Okay, you know the term honeypot, right? Okay, that's what this word is. So honeypot, even though it's a weird name, it actually means something. It's not just honey in a pot, right? Some chick, she's like some kind of a spy or whatever. And then her whole point is to extort, sexually. Who gives a shit? Anyway. To somebody and then use it against them later on. Okay. This word, first of all, is amazing in a weird way. Anyway, so compromat. I'm going to move this over. Okay. Okay. So it actually means compromising material. It's like using in the word. This is why it's used for the connection in Belarus and Russia to gather info. So she has something to do with Belarus and Russia, right? Okay, I'm going to tell you exactly what the words, what it means, because I couldn't believe how good that was. I'm going to try to find some way to use it in a sentence at some point. Anyway, okay, compromat is a Russian term that translates to compromising material. It refers to compromising information or evidence that can be used against an individual to gain leverage or manipulate them. Here's a breakdown of the concept. Types of information. Compromat can include documents, photographs, recordings, and any other material that can be damaging to a person's reputation or career. This might involve illicit activities, personal scandals, or situations that could lead to embarrassment. Purpose. The primary use of compromat is to exert influence or control over an individual. It can serve to intimidate, blackmail, or coerce somebody into compliance or silence regarding sensitive matters. Who does that sound like? Who does that sound like? This is a Russian word. Who does that sound like? Cheeto. It sounds like Cheeto. Here's the historical context. So, used as a political tool. In Russian politics and espionage, compromat has been utilized extensively as a tool to neutralize opponents or rivals. Political leaders may leverage such materials to ensure loyalty or to discredit opposition. Who does that sound like? Cheeto. Say it. Let's say it together. Cheeto. This is bonkers. Okay. Anyway, I'll tell you why it's bonkers in a little bit though. KGB and intelligence. During the Soviet era, the KGB reportedly used compromise strategies as part of their operations against dissidents and foreign agents, fostering a climate of fear and manipulation. Cheeto. Contemporary relevance. Modern usage. The concept of compromat has gained recognition beyond Russia, often appearing in discussions about political campaigns, corporate espionage, and personal relationships where leverage or control is sought. Cheeto. Media and scandals. In recent years, references to compromat have surfaced in various political scandals, particularly related to allegations of Russian influence in global politics, Cheeto, including elections, Cheeto, and diplomatic relations, Cheeto. Okay. Everything you just heard, right? Even though when I had to read it, I was writing this down and I was like, to me it makes sense because it's me writing it. But I couldn't understand the context of the word. So I'm going to say it to you the way that I started to understand what it was. So when I said honeypot, even though it means something different, that word is more important. That was weird. That word is far more important than what it means is far more important than the word, right? Because a honeypot, honestly, it could just kind of be anything. I mean, all right, anyway, you get it. Anyway, here's where, okay, so this is where I made the connection between Ivana, his first wife. Okay, if you go to I want to say my Rumble account, I did like a 5-part series about Ivana bringing him into the fold with Russia. That's why all of his wives are from other countries, except Marla Maples. But here's the thing. She knew what was happening too. Because through the grapevine, she was at a party. She had a friend there who had a 14-year-old daughter. And she told her, keep your daughter away from Cheeto. Don't keep an eye on her. Don't let her roam around. Keep your eye on her. Hold her hand, but keep an eye on her. Now, why in the hell would his wife tell somebody that? Because she knew. When we say that we want to call people, I think we should call everybody. Like, I give no shit. It's like when Diddy got arrested. Okay. Look, I'm born and raised in New York. Of course I know who Diddy is, right? Don't like his music. I used to, but anyway, more into the 70s, 80s kind of thing. Anyway, when he got arrested, the first thing I thought, you know who I thought was going to be the first person to show up? The Billingsworth? Some nonsense. I can't remember his name exactly. But the guy that was with him all the time, he had he wore like a little bow tie and he carried around an umbrella. He was the weirdest person I've ever seen. But he was on everything. He was in every TV show, every photo. Hadn't seen him. Not once. So either he's in hiding and nobody gives a shit, or he's dead. I don't know. But this is what I'm saying. This is what I mean about Marla Maples. This is what I mean about his wives, including Melania, right? I think she's the worst of them all. I mean, Ivana was like really, 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 really smart. She had her own business. Like, she ran it, right? Oh my God, she died, right? You know where she's at? You know where she's buried? On Trump's golf course. You know how heartbreaking that is? He buried her on his golf course. Do you know why? He got a kickback. He got a tax exemption over it. Really? You couldn't pay for a fucking casket? Anyway, we already know the douchebaggery. So anyway, when I started realizing what compromat meant, I know I'm not spelling it right. I'm going to learn how to say it because I know that that word right now is everything in this situation. Okay. Remember the P tape? And then everybody was like, oh, I don't know where it originated from, but I know everybody was talking about it. That's compromise. That was Russia telling him, play ball. Play ball or else. Do I think this tape is real? Absolutely. What? Yes. Okay. Yes. Yes. But that was a lesson. That was a lesson. Even though everybody's like, oh, it's just a rumor. It might have been. I doubt it. But it could have been. But who started it? They did. Did you know a couple of years back? I want to say either when he got in the office or right before he did. Russian news stations were making fun of him and Melania. And I guess she was a so-called model back in the day. She had a nude photo. And they put it up on Russian TV. Guess what that was? A lesson. A lesson. When you're an asset, when you're literally, I had to put, you really got to go watch that video. When you're just like a literal asset, you know what an asset is, right? But there's two kinds of things. Either you're like an agent. Okay, that's what it is. Either you're an agent, which he is not, or you're an asset. So an agent would kind of be like a spy getting information, but you're working for your own team. An asset is somebody who takes you from your team, tells you what to do, and puts you back. And then you have to do what they say you have to do. He's an asset. Okay. So, like I said, this is my notepad. There's only one thing I have to read off of an article. Everything else is just everything I put in my notes to talk about today. So, okay. Even now, oh my God, do you believe this? MAGA till this day. It's like, oh, it's not that serious. We had Megyn Kelly, and she was like, they were like 15 years old. They're not 8. That's the kind of nonsense that's coming out of people's mouths. For real. Like if this was Three Stooges, I would love to just line them all up and just go with a backhand and just go all the way down as far as I can fucking go. He knows that's working. He gets it. He knows they could be played, and they are getting played. We ignored it when he said he grabs women by the pussy. We ignored it when he said that he thought his daughter was hot. We ignored it when he said he just pulls women and starts making out with them. First of all, it's gross as hell. I would punch somebody in the throat if they just came up to me and started putting their tongue in my mouth. That's an issue. That's an issue. But that's the same guy that everybody's like, oh, all guys talk like that. Listen, I know guys. They don't talk like that unless they're huge pieces of shit or incels. Guys don't just walk around doing that. Anyway. Okay, like I said, when MAGA does this, right? Forget about the Megyn Kellys, forget about the Fox News stations, right? They could just say, look, that was my job, blah, blah, blah. Now, the people that are doing it by themselves, they're the ones that are going to ultimately pay the price. The same price that Pam Bondi, Cash Patel, Bovino, the same one, all the ICE agents. Oh, and I'm definitely going to cover just a little bit of that. I don't know why my page keeps reloading. It's freaking me out because it's not supposed to be doing that. And I'm not turning my VPN off. Anyway, okay. The internet's forever. Forever and ever and ever and ever. Everything people do, it's screenshot. You know why I'm not keeping this up for 2 days? Because I haven't even gone through this whole thing, and I already know that other people aren't covering it. This isn't like regular shit. You know what I mean? Like I said, ever since I started coming back to shows and stuff, like, I'm having a hard time watching YouTube, and content creators now. Because I'm like, why are you just talking about the same shit? Like, can you just talk without playing a 20-minute clip? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, now, this was making me really start doing a lot more lives. Because I'm like, well, I know if it was me, I'd want to know other things. Anyway, my eyes are killing me. I have that light without that little filter. It's kicking my ass. Okay. Oh, here you go. Okay. Here's a quote about Compromat. Compromat is in the MC files. Okay. The term, after I explain to you what it means, is in the literal word, is in the files. And you already know what it means. Okay. Recent discussions surrounding the Epstein files suggest that Compromat may have played a significant role in understanding Epstein's operations and the broader implications of his connections, right? And we already were slowly finding out who these people are. Here are some insights based on the findings, right? File drop. A new set of Epstein files, the most comprehensive since his death, has emerged, raising questions and his ties to espionage and potential compromise schemes. It doesn't just say that he is involved, that like somebody's, how am I going to say that or it makes sense? It's not that somebody's, not just that somebody's implementing him in compromise, but he's using compromise. I hope that makes sense. Okay. Allegations suggest he shared information between Epstein and influential individuals, including former UK ambassador Peter Mandelson. We already know what happened with him. This raises concerns about the extent and compromise and manipulation involving high-level officials. So we already know that. I'm covering it because it's in here, but all of it will make sense in a minute. Jesus Christ. I don't want to turn that light off because you won't be able to see me at all. Okay, anyway. Russian spy operations. Discussions are taking place regarding whether Epstein was involved in espionage activities. We know that he is. Okay? Given his financial dealings and relationships in various circles. We already covered the $1 billion that was setting off a bank in Russia that he was kind of exchanging, which I'm just going to go with money laundering. Like, that makes more sense. Anyway. Claims are surfacing that hint at a connection between his network and Russian interests, potentially utilizing Compromat to exert influence. We already know that. Since the files came out, we clearly understand that Epstein hated Trump. And we found that Trump is a straight up snitch. Okay. This is how I feel about him being a snitch. If you watch any mob movie or drug dealer movie or something, so one guy acts like he's the friend to another guy, but once they become competition, somebody's gonna make that call. Somebody's gonna snitch, and that's what he did. That's exactly what he did. I think that the reason why Jeffrey Epstein was emailing himself back and forth to cover his ass is because he knows Trump snitched. He knows he did. He knew it. He emailed himself because he knew that if he got in trouble, he wasn't going to last long. And look, you could throw out anything you want. That he's still alive, that he was murdered, whatever, that he unalived himself, whatever you want. That's on you. I don't know. I don't care. What I care about is that the secrets that he had, right? They're either still ongoing or we already know he's redacting everything and people's names are starting to come out. Or he knew that he wasn't going to make it and he had to choose between himself and destroying Trump, which was a conversation that he had with Michael Wolff and Steve Bannon. And nobody's talking about Steve Bannon either. Anyway, okay. So we already know what he was doing. Okay, so the political impact. So the potential existence of Compromat in the Epstein files indicates that the ramifications of his connections could extend into international politics, affecting current leaders and their credibility. No shit. Okay. Now we're going to talk about a company called DP World. I hope you're sitting for the rest of this. I love you guys. I do this for you. Let me tell you about DP World. And I wrote this down. I'm not on the website or anything, but I got a lot of it from the website. So DP World is a multinational logistics company, right? And this is from dpworld.com. So DP World is a multinational logistics company based in Dubai, the United Arab Emirates. It specializes in cargo logistics, port terminal operations, maritime services, and free trade zones. Formed in 2005 by the merger of Dubai Ports Authority and Dubai Port International, DP World handles 70 million containers that are brought in by around 70,000 vessels annually. That's a lot, just so you know. They're one of the biggest in the entire world. That's why it's called DP World. This equates to roughly 10% of global container traffic, accounted for by their 82 marine and inland terminals present in 40 countries. Okay. I'm not even going to tell you who he is until like the end. So the person that is the chairman of DP World, he has 2 islands himself. I'm only going to tell you about one because it's almost impossible to find out about the second island. And I had to write this down. Okay, he has 2 islands himself, and one of them is world famous, and it's called Palm Jeremiah. Okay, it's shaped like a palm tree with the trunk, and I think 16 separate leaves. I think they're called leaves. Anyway, but all of them are separated by water, and I mean 16 sections. So it's got the trunk like this, and then it looks like a weird spider. So it has like one here, 16 times. I'm not going to do that. But for every single piece that goes, there's water in between them, right? So you can't just like go across the street and go to the separate palm tree leaf. You have to go either by boat. There's no way to do it. And there's no bridges. So it's secluded like nobody's business. But it's right there out in the water. I'm going to go with where it's located and why it's pushed out from the land like that. And supposedly it's supposed to be a palm tree, and that would be the reason why from land it goes so far out, is it goes into international water. You can do anything you want in international water. Anything. Okay. Do you know what the Nazca lines are? And I took this from National Geographic, probably. Anyway, I found out about the Nazca lines a long time ago. Okay. So I'm going to tell you what the Nazca lines are, just in case. The Nazca lines remains a mystery primarily because their exact purpose is unknown. Their immense scale makes them hard to understand from the ground, and the ancient Nazca people left no written records, leading to varied theories from astronomical calendars? I know that's not the word. Anyway, and ritual pathways to messages for gods or even alien visitors. The challenge lies in reconciling their precise, large-scale designs with the lack of direct explanation from their creators, despite archaeological evidence suggesting ceremonial or water-related functions. Okay, so here's the thing with the higher-ups, and it's always been a thing with the higher-ups. Listen, before I even say anything, take the word Satan and throw that shit out the window. I don't play that game at all. If you do, that's on you, but you're not going to hear that shit from me. Do I think there's rituals? Absolutely. Do I think a little red guy with a pitchfork has something to do with it? Absolutely not. Okay. Shit. You know, you guys already know how I get down. You know I have to write this down. I do these shows and then I go off on a tangent with something else, and then I have to write it down. I'm gonna go put ritual. Yeah, I think so. Ritual. I know that's not it. Anyway, okay. They have to tell you, right? So, okay. So when somebody says the Illuminati, throw that out the window. Freemasons, yes, there are Freemasons. Are they higher ups? Probably. I mean, back in the day, I know that there was some kind of a speech or something George Washington had put out, because he was a Freemason, where he was like, yo, y'all need to pay attention because there's some infiltrators and this is going to get really complicated. But if you talk to a regular Freemason, a guy who's like, I'm a Freemason, believe me when I tell you, he pays dues every month and he doesn't know shit. He can have a secret handshake, he can have a secret license plate, or he can have, listen, because I've seen it, he can have a Bohemian Grove owl sticker on the back of his car to prevent tickets. Is he up there? No. I don't know why people keep saying that. Listen, if a guy's like, I'm a Freemason, I just lose total respect. I'm just like, first of all, that's a really sad brag. You shouldn't be trying to flex that. That means absolutely nothing for the media. That's like you working at Walmart and you're bragging, but you're the guy who packs bags. No, you're not in the know. You're using the name because you think it means something. But for the people that know, it doesn't mean anything at all. Okay, I just had to get that out of the way really quick. So, all around the world, they have different gods, but they all have different purposes, right? Have you ever heard of the 72 glacier spirits, right? There's this whole thing about it. I'm going to cover like the parts that I remember. The key of Solomon. Anyway, okay. So this is what I heard a long time ago. So the 72 spirits, right? And all of them have, obviously, they all have something separate. So the lore is that Solomon, I think, was able to get all the spirits into a box, right? And he was the only one that was able to open the box. So there's this guy, I can't remember his name because obviously this wasn't on any of my stuff to talk about. Okay. So this guy, he said he channeled all the spirits, and then he he sketched them out. They all look like frogs and skeletons or whatever. So here's the part that I always found fascinating. If you look at all the photos, and then you look at what they stand for, like when you call one in or you do a ritual to summon it, you know the purpose of it. You know what I mean? If you want money, if you want power, if you want fame, if you want to unalive, whatever it is, they all have a purpose. The part that messed me up the most was that if you look at the photos and then you find out what the spirits do, they have one. It's a skeleton, and it's like a river of blood, right? And then the skeleton's like about this far in, you could just see its head. So you're automatically thinking, oh, that's some horrible shit. No, he's actually a really good guy. Then they have a guy that's like in all green, and I want to say, maybe my brain took me there. Anyway, where it was like a Robin Hood kind of character. And he's horrible. Like, he's one of the worst. So when you start looking at stuff like this, we're taught what good and bad is based on its appearance, right? So we got that Luigi Mangione guy, right? He's fine as hell. You think anybody cares what he did? They don't. They don't care about the person he did it to. But he's all over the place because women are swooning over him. We have the guy from he unalived his pregnant wife, Lacey Peterson, I think. And they thought he was fine. I think he got married to like some chick or whatever. Anyway. And then you see somebody with tattoos, or you see somebody who looks different, and you just automatically judge them. You know, I see a lot of people that post things like, they have tattoos, or they have a lot of piercings or something, and they're like, I can't get a job. And everyone's like, well, you just look different. Listen, some of the best people are the ones that look like that. Some of the best people. And that's because they're so used to being treated that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really sad. Back in the day, I used to have blue hair. I have 4 here, 4 here. I have my bread, I have my tongue, my nose. I got tattoos. And I was always good at everything I did. You know what I mean? Because I knew people might be judging me. You know, even though I looked like that in New York, when I moved out to the Midwest, I took all of that shit out. Because I was already like, first of all, I'm Puerto Rican and I'm moving to the whitest town in the United States. And I knew that was already going to be an issue, but I was like, now imagine the plus issue, right? Okay, since you're here. No, I'm not doing a show for like another 2 days. This is going to be long. I already said it won't. You know I've been lying. Anyway, when I first moved to the Midwest, I'm going to tell you some of the stories that I was told because nobody knew why I was there. So I was there with my ex and my kids. And my youngest daughter was like 8 months old. And nobody could figure out what the hell we were doing there. Like, I think it had like less than 1,000 people in it. And they're like, you came from New York? What are you doing here? So here are the stories that they imagined, because God forbid somebody asked. They thought we weren't in the witness protection program, right? Like, we go to that town. Listen, if they sent me to that town because I was in the witness protection program, I'm just going to snitch on myself and be like, please get me the hell out of here, you know? And then, I want to say something about 9/11. I can't, anyway, the one that fascinated me was the witness protection program. So, don't judge. That's my entire point. Don't judge. Okay. So we got that so far. I put Rich one on my, and I'm, okay, so here's the thing where I got to write things down. I'll talk about something and then I don't know where to find it in my life. So, anyway, I love you guys. You guys already knew I was going to go off on a tangent. Okay, so the guy that I was talking about that is the chairman of DP World. Oh my God. He owns, right, the 2 islands. So here's the connection between, oh, and that island with the trunk and the thing that looks like, to me it looks like a spider. You can see it from space. You can see it from space. The same way you can see the Nazca lines. And the first thing I thought, because there's a lot of people that believe the Nazca lines is because you can see it from space. Like, you can walk around it all day long. You're not going to see what you're walking on. And it also has like negative connotations. So I had to find out why that was. It was like, oh, it means something negative for the process. And they said that it's because they took something and they didn't put something back, which I thought was interesting to kind of say about a place that had rocks. But in a symbolic way, you know what that means. Shit. I forgot about the 72 courageous spirits. Anyway, so the story is, all of them can be summoned in their own separate way. So here's the really cool part. So, so you know how, like, we have the king and queen of England or whatever. Anyway, so it's said that the box, the actual literal box, is underneath the queen's chair. And every time they have those giant ceremonies, you know, where everybody wears those fancy hats and stuff, she's sitting on top of the chair. And that means something super serious. Okay, that was it. That was it. I just thought that was really, really cool. Maybe I'll do something about the spirits individually at some point. It's just not going to be today. Jesus Christ. All right. I was like, if this thing could be seen from space and they're comparing it to the Nazca lines, either it's symbology that's really, really serious that we'll never fully understand, or there's alien pedophiles and they're trying to tune into them. Those are the only 2 things I can think about. Straight up. They're like, oh man, I know what that means. And then they're taking their ships and they're parking in international waters. They're having their fun. And then they're going right back out of space. Forget probes. Well, you know what I mean. Okay. Okay, hold on. So, the Nazca lines remain a mystery primarily because their exact purpose is unknown. Their immense scale, I think I read that. I did. The challenge lies in reconciling the precise large-scale designs with the lack of direct... I said that. Okay. Now the purpose is debated. So theories suggest that there were the observational calendars, religious rituals. Keep that in mind when I'm finishing. Appealing for water. Keep that in mind. Ceremonial pathways, or even landing strips for extraterrestrials, but no single theory is definitively proven. Of course it's not. God, I hate when people do that. They're so large, they were only truly discovered with the advent of flight, right? So we figured out how to get a plane, and then we were like, holy crap, look at that. So making it difficult to grasp their function from the ground where they were made. The Nazca culture flourished before written records, leaving archaeologists to interpret the geoglyphs without textual clues, which means you can't trust it, right? I am so against science. I'm so against science. Like, all of it. All of it. Written records, carbon dating, dinosaur bones, math. Yeah, I said it. Math. Mm-hmm. This guy that did this whole thing, where he says, was math invented? You know what I mean by invented, right? Like, the way they make the connection to make the connection to have us think this way, right? Like 1 + 1 could be 10,000. Like, we just do our math weird, but we make it make sense to what the higher ups want to tell us that it is. You know what I mean? Anyway, the precision of the lines, including complex animal figures and geometric shapes, hints at sophisticated knowledge and intentionality, fueling speculation about how they were made and why. Connection to water. Given the arid desert environment, many theories link the lines to water rituals or mapping underground water sources. Many figures are one continuous unbroken line, suggesting a deliberate ceremonial path rather than random markings. Okay, so here's the thing with that. And that's everywhere. I don't, like, do I know if they have hit water? I don't know. But I know that we have water in these giant pockets all over the place. Here's a story I don't want to bring up, but I'm gonna anyway. Okay, so in the Midwest, back in the day, we had the Dust Bowl, right? And it was this giant storm, and it hit the Midwest, and it like demolished farms and people's homes or whatever. Hardworking people that were working on the farms had to pack their shit because they couldn't grow anything anymore. So they got up. Most people went to California, right? And then because they were poor, you know what I mean, and they were country, they went to California. They were not liked. This was during Jim Crow era, and they had to go into the Negro seats. They had to drink out of the Negro water fountains and the places to eat. So I really don't understand the whole race thing, kind of, because that doesn't make sense. It's about class, it ain't about race. Anyway, so here's what happened. They went, they got up, they got as many people as they could, and they left. So here's what these idiots did. They went and they took all the open space. And I'm talking about the Midwest today, okay? This is what these idiots did. They went and they said, we have all of this free space. We're going to start our new farms, right? There was no water. Okay, so let's say that, okay, all right, let's say this is the ground, and then this is some dirt, and then this is the grass. The dust storm did like this much over the dirt where nothing can grow. Nothing could grow. So what did these assholes do? They went, they took these giant machines or whatever they had for that time. They dug down and they found pockets, like these pockets of water in random places. So instead of them figuring out that you can't grow anything here, they figured, hey, we drilled, we got some water or whatever. It's like a well on somebody's property. Except, well, I don't want to say except big, because you can live 20, 30 years off the well. But that's like maybe a small town or a couple of acres of property, because I own 1.67 acres, and I could have water for the rest of my life there. So I know that it can be done, but you can't do that for miles. So this is what they did. They went, they built these irrigation systems, but they got it from the pockets of water. So 20 years later, they use the machines and stuff where they find water and all this other stuff. Anyway, they go and they find out that the water that they had was almost gone. And they gave a warning, and they were like, listen, the water that's underneath that we're using for the farms in the Midwest is running out. Do you realize that those kind of places run out of water? So everybody's fear about what's going on with the food, how we're going to grow it, who's going to control it, that's done. They said maybe another 30 years and all of the Midwest is going to be empty. You can't grow anything there. The built irrigation systems were dependent on a pocket of water that will not last forever. Not at all. And what are they going to do? They're going to pump it from the ocean and then put it back there? There's no ending to it. And I think farmers know, and I think people that are growing things know, and I think the government damn sure well know exactly what they're doing. Okay, so they say it might be a calendar pointing to celestial events and solstices, ritual pathways like a pilgrimage route to sacred sites or ceremonial walks, water rituals appealing to gods for water or marking water resources, making communication routes or linking to subterranean canals, and the ancient astronaut theory, a popular but fringe theory suggesting extraterrestrial involvement, like the pyramids and everything else. Okay. Okay, I already said that. So the higher ups are into spirits, into gods, into rituals, into numerology, symbology, words, the whole thing. All of it. Okay. When you hear about the Nazca lines, there's also another name for it, and it's Palpa. Right? I already told you what the Nazca lines is, right? And I'm telling you about this dude, DP World's chairman's little island, right? That's shaped as a palm tree with the 16 leaves. Palpa is even older than the Nazca lines. You want to guess what Palpa means? It means palm. It means palm tree. Now, there's like 20 ways to spell it. So the one that's Palpa, P-A-L-P-A, is the one that's palm. So there's a connection right there. You can see his island from space. It's surrounded with water. It has the same thing the Nazca lines, but he's using the word palm in his place. I know he has the second island. I don't know where it's at. Anyway, I wanted to concentrate on that one anyway. Okay. So then you have this place, right? Everything is surrounded. It's water, it's celestial, it's symbols. Water is super important. You have all of that. Now, why would a guy, a billionaire, who has places all over the country that carries maritime, which is just water law for the water law, and then I'll tell you what he has to do with Epstein in a little bit. Okay. Hold on, because I really want to. Oh, all right. Yeah, I'm not gonna stay here forever. Okay. DP World. Bummer. Hold on. I told you how big DP World is. It's world, and they meant it. I don't know why this page will not open. Oh, I know why. Okay. That's weird, though. That's the page that keeps reloading. I mean, I know why now. Okay. I know I told you to sit down before, but you need to sit down again. Okay. The guy who owns DP World, I gotta look because pronouncing his name is going to super suck. I've mispronounced everybody's name anyway. Oh, where is it? I know I'm not going to say it right. I don't know why this thing is acted up. My computer's been doing this all day. Okay, I'm going to say it wrong. Sulayam? Anyway, so he's the Sultan dude that was in the Epstein files. He's the one that he was talking to, that he has sent an email. Okay, newly released emails reveal a surprisingly close relationship between Sultan Ahmed bin Salayem, the chairman and CEO of DP World, and Jeffrey Epstein. According to reports, the two exchanged dozens, if not hundreds, of emails between 2007 and 2018. The correspondence wasn't just strictly business. It included personal requests, sharing news articles, and plans to meet. Photos released by the House Democrats even show Epstein cooking with Solomon, highlighting a level of personal intimacy that goes beyond a boardroom acquaintance. And I was able to see the picture, and it looks like a couple. It looks like it's Valentine's Day. and the husband's making the meal, and the wife is watching him cook. I mean, the salt is in a t-shirt. It's ridiculous. Anyway, that's how close they are. Keep that in mind. He's also the piece of shit that sent the email about enjoying the torture video. That's that guy. So, gee, Trinity, what does that mean? What does that have to do with the price of eggs? Well, I will tell you. As soon as this, I know you can see the screen is black. I have everything up. And for some odd reason, they're just deciding to do whatever the hell they want to do today. Oh my God. Okay. So remember how I told you that the banks in Russia were already, they were onto whatever the hell he was doing. So after he got arrested, nobody, I mean, I want to say people really don't want to mess with him, but everybody did anyway. But it was pretty much in secret. And then the people that did know and didn't want to have their name associated with him wouldn't do any business, right? Because they didn't want that shit to bite them on the ass later on. Oh, there it is. Jesus Christ. Okay. Hold on. Because this came out in 2019. And this is from the Miami Herald. Remember what I said? This guy owns DP World. He owns islands. Why would he be the one to send some kind of a torture video kind of context? I'm going to read from this article, and then we're going to be done for today. Among his many possessions, Jeffrey Epstein owned a secluded 72-acre island in the Caribbean called Little St. James, a sumptuous tropical hideaway most anyone would envy. For him, it wasn't enough. We know about Little St. James. The other day, I bought a Zorro Ranch, right? Today, we're going to talk about Great St. James. He bought another island right next to the island. Another island. Okay. Epstein set his sights on the body of land across the channel, Great St. James Cay, deciding that it should be his as well. The only problem was his owner was determined not to deal with Epstein, a registered sex offender who had narrowly wriggled out of a federal trafficking case in 2008. The multimillionaire financier advisor was undeterred. According to records examined by the Miami Herald and McClatchy and interviews, Epstein set up an opaque limited liability company, or LLC, making it appear in the negotiations that the true owner was one who? The fucking Sultan. A wealthy Dubai businessman with connections to the royal family. A $22.5 million deal was worked out. Only after the deal was consummated and work permits were pulled did it emerge that Epstein might be the actual owner. It wasn't until his July arrest, however, that he officially declared in an affidavit that he owned the second island. Sultan, and Sultan is his name, not his title, confirmed through an aide that Epstein had asked to use his name in an unspecific business, but bid, but was told no. And I actually have the documents here. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to go through all that. It's just a lot of numbers. Anyway, seemingly legal on its face, the transaction, though a shell company that provided anonymity, is an example of the way Epstein conducted business. Which, keep in mind, this guy's not the only guy. He's a middleman. That's it. He's not the guy. I want to say maybe 1 million plus that are the guys. He didn't do it by himself. People really got to get over that shit. Do you know how many other places he probably has? And I'm talking about he was like the hotel manager, right? He was the hotel manager. You know how many places he probably has that we haven't found out yet? I can guarantee you those shit's in the files. We're going to find out about every island. Remember, island, water, hard to get to. Every island. Okay. Determining the source of an account and accounting for Epstein's vast wealth remains a mystery paint by numbers exercise. It is taking on added importance, however, as abuse victims step forward and file lawsuits against his estate in the wake of his August suicide while awaiting trial on his abuse charges of underage girls. This was in 2019. So right now, if you want to be all pissed off at Cheeto, that's fine. But you got to be pissed off at Cheeto. You got to be pissed off at Biden, Obama, Clinton, everybody. This shit's way back. I did a whole thing about the Franklin scandal. That was during the Reagan-Bush administration. It's always been. Listen, this was going on when Epstein was like born. And his great-great-great-great-grandfather were born. This is how they do it. This is how they've always done it. Okay. A picture is slowly emerging of his businesses and his associates. Recent reporting shows that Epstein was at the forefront of structured finance, the packaging of mortgages and bonds into complex financial instruments that nearly brought down the global financial system more than a decade ago. Again, this was written in 2019. The Sultan and Epstein connection is different from others in that his name may be used by the financier without his permission. The Sultan is brought up in heated emails in November 2015 about parties arguing over whether a signed non-disclosure agreement was needed from the Persian Gulf businessman. He done got him to put his name on the island that he bought. They're talking about inappropriate videos and emails, and he was like, you need to sign an NDA. And this dude was like, everything I've done for you, and you want me to sign an NDA? So they wound up having a huge fight in 2015. Quote, this is the first I have heard that an NDA is required from Sultan Salome directly. I do not see the relevance as he is not directly engaged in the transaction as far as any confidential information you are providing, said Christopher Crobin, a lawyer with Epstein's outside legal counsel. He wrote in the November 9th, 2015 email, quote, he may be the ultimate purchaser, but if, and then it says Epstein attorney, is not providing him with any confidential details, I don't see the point. Even though they were all down together, nobody trusted anybody. I mean, that's a good thing, because they were all pieces of shit. Non-disclosure agreements are common in real estate, especially pricey real estate that wealthy buyers want to keep off the public record, which they do. The same way the place that bought Zorro Ranch is doing it, the same way that his girlfriend is doing it, they're all doing it. The same way Cheeto does it, right? The same way that BB does it, right? What they say they were going to do with Gaza. They're going to make it into like motels, you know, they're going to make lakefront property. Anyway, I don't even want to get mad about that right now. Anyway, the email was in response to one sent about an hour earlier from the seller's representative, who wanted to see proof that the Sultan, the supposed true owner, could pay upfront as planned and not just the deposit. The seller of the Great St. James property was Christian Kaiser, one of Denmark's richest men. Members of his wealthy family had owned the property for almost 4 decades. He did not want to sell it to Epstein because of the 2008 Palm Beach County conviction for solicitation and sordid accounts of abuse related by his underage victims. Quote, he was not popular on the island, said Susan Kaiser, the seller's wife, who told the Danish publication 2 days after Epstein reported August 10th unaliving in a New York jail cell. Locals in St. Thomas begged the couple not to sell the island because of the reports of Epstein's deviant behavior. The fact that Epstein was the apparent buyer emerged only when his name appeared in local land use permits as the sole member of the company that bought it. 2 outside attorneys for Epstein involved in the transaction, Crobin Keller Haas did not return calls and emails requesting comment, nor did Epstein's longtime personal attorney Darren Indike. David Demure, an attorney for the Cagers in the Virgin Islands, declined to comment. And April Newland, the seller's broker, did not return calls for comment. Maria Hodge, anyway, nobody wanted to say anything. So, okay. All right. The corporate vehicle for the 2016 purchase was an anonymous Virgin Islands Corporation, Great St. Jim LLC, and communication between lawyers. The Sultan is repeatedly referenced as what in legal parlance is called the ultimate beneficial owner. The parties signed the contract on January 8th, 2016. The contract paperwork included Sultan's name, but the space above it, where the signature would normally be, is left unsigned. When the sale closed on January 28th, 2016, there was no apparent reference to Sultan anywhere in the subsequent documentation. So it's like when you're looking for a job and you ask your friend to be a reference. That's kind of what he did. He just backed them. He said, "You could use my name. They'll look into me. They'll know I have a ton of money, and they'll just sell it. Don't sign anything, right? And then we'll be clear. The place is yours." That's exactly what he did. Now we're gonna get into Farkas. What's her name? Okay. Okay, so you already know about the Sultan guy, right? It says he has long-standing connections to the ruling Maktoum family. I know I'm saying that right. He has indirect connections to the Virgin Islands. He got his start developing running Dubai's port and tax-free zone in the mid-1980s, later expanding into government-tied real estate and port ventures. He's the CEO and chairman of the Global Ports Operator DP World and was a board member of the Investment Corporation of Dubai, the sovereign wealth fund of Dubai. He has business ties to Epstein's friend and co-investor named Andrew Farkas, a prominent New York developer. Farkas, who is friends with President Donald Trump, is an investor in buildings and an online real estate funding firm owned by Kushner Companies, belonging to the family of Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. Now, before I keep going, we already know the games he's been playing since Cheeto's first administration, and he was also the one who was talking about Gaza having the potential, and he was the one that started with the sentence, it's great, beachfront property. And who do we find out? The Sultan, Cheeto, his son-in-law, Epstein, who else? Oh, and Andrew Farkas. Oh, and we're going to get into Lex Wessner in a little bit. Anyway, Farkas and his girlfriend bought the Sultan to Trump's inaugural ball in 2017. The New York Post reported at the time. The Sultan was with Farkas during the March 2007 opening of Yacht Haven Grande, the Virgin Islands' prestigious marina located alongside the cruise ship terminal. A photo from the opening shows a smiling Farkas and the Sultan together, surrounded by Miami Dolphins owner Steve Ross and a boyish Donald Trump Jr. Yacht Haven is owned by the Ion Global Yachting, which operates 6 luxury marinas in the Caribbean and 4 others in Latin America. It was founded by Farkas, and parent companies is Farkas Island Capital Group. I know I said this before, I'm going to say it again. I cannot remember her name for the life of me, but I want to say the senator or the congresswoman of the Virgin Islands who had communication with Epstein after he was already convicted. Democrat, she knew exactly what was going on. He was giving that place tons of money. Tons of money. She knows. They know. They knew, and nobody said anything. So, she needs her comeuppance. That's a fact. All right. Island Capital partner with Ishtamar World, an investment fund of the royal family of Dubai, just 2 years earlier. Together, they purchased 203 Park Avenue, more commonly known as the Helmsley Building, the New York landmark named after eccentric one-time owner, the late Leona Helmsley. Why do I know that name? Yeah, remember that name? Put it in the comments. What? A spokesman for... This is how you know I wasn't reading this before I got here. A spokesman for Ion Global said the Sultan does not own a stake in the Virgin Islands Marina, and that neither him nor any associated company provided financing for it, which we already know was a lie. However, what wasn't widely known until the story in July from Bloomberg and local reporting in the Virgin Islands was that Epstein and Farkas together owned the American Yacht Harbor, a different Virgin Islands marina located on the east side of St. Thomas. Farkas purchased it in January 2007, and documents obtained by Bloomberg from an unrelated lawsuit showed that later the same year, Epstein took a 50% stake. That was around the time that the FBI had drafted a 53-page indictment naming Epstein. That indictment was shelved in favor of an arrangement that Epstein would plead to minor solicitation charges in state court. The secretive deal, highlighted last November in the Miami Herald investigation series Perversion of Justice, allowed Epstein to serve just 13 months in a Palm Beach County jail. Farkas declined to discuss if he had other business dealings with Epstein, how long they'd done business together, or what becomes of Epstein's 50% stake. The Great St. James Island, purchased by Epstein in 2016 via Great St. Jim LLC, had its own tortured legal history. Its owners thought they'd sold it in 2004 to Jason Taylor, the Hall of Fame defensive lineman with the Miami Dolphins. Taylor's attempted purchase, made with real estate magnate Robert Addy and Taylor's friend, Miami condo mega developer, fell through. That was followed by a decade of lawsuits and countersuits. Resolution was December 2013. Okay. Now we're starting to get into some boring shit. Okay. Now we have Lex Wessner. Now, I think they brought him up again today. So originally his name was redacted, right? Then, like the idiots that these people are, they put out the files again. They took it down. They put it back. This time, they took his name. They took his first name out and then left his last name. Like nobody was gonna know who it was. So, okay, we're gonna cover him, and then I think that's gonna be it. Okay. Okay, quote, "My real business has always been money," Epstein told the commissioners, recounting in his pitch that I was, quote, "poor growing up," and adding, "When I first started on Wall Street, I was a school teacher." That's horrifying, right? The new venture Epstein promised was different than what made him a millionaire. He was a teacher. Okay, sorry. Quote, "This is not financial advice. This is the mathematics and the product of financial algorithms for sale," he told the commissioners on November 15, 2012, who then gave the green light for the tax break period to proceed. "It's unclear what work was done in the succeeding 5 years, blah, blah, blah." In interviews over the years, Epstein has suggested he was helping manage the Saudi royal family's wealth. Yeah, they're right here too. But there is no firm evidence that he acted privately in a similar capacities for other regions. We know that he did. His primary publicly acknowledged client was Leslie Wexner, the Ohio-based owner of retail giants Victoria's Secret, L Brands, and I think he owns Bed Bath & Beyond. Yeah. Anyway, Wexner recently said in an email to employees obtained by the Columbus Dispatch that, quote, "he regretted that my path ever crossed his." 2019 is when this came out. Wexner, now 82, said he severed ties with Epstein more than a decade ago, and that Epstein misappropriated more than $46 million from him. In July 2019 article, the Virgin Islands Daily News, an IT contractor recalled Epstein shelling out huge sums to fiber optics cables rapidly installed on the private islands in 2005. 2005. And I gotta just say this really quick. Fiber optic cable, like the way that we have high-speed internet before, have it now. I didn't know that. Like there's these giant cables under the water and shit. I don't know. I'm sure you knew that. Anyway, I know that back then it was still new. There weren't a lot of companies. You know, it was the only company that was using fiber optic cables in 2005. Sprint. Do you remember Sprint? I used to work for Sprint. That's how I know that. I was not a telemarketer. I was like some kind of representative. What I just answered questions and signed you up. Like I didn't call your house and get on you about it. But I know that our biggest pitch was that out of all the companies, Sprint was the only one that had fiber optic cables, or phone service or whatever. Anyway, just thought I'd throw that out there. The businessman Steve Scully recalled that, quote, the guy, no matter what he wanted to reach at any given time, was Les Wexner. Les Wexner was button number 1 on his speed dial. It was Lex Wexner's office. It was Lex Wexner's private number. You see how these people are lying? So much lies. Okay. Several liens remain on the record of deeds website in the Virgin Islands, with professionals complaining that Epstein has stiffed them. Reached by phone about the nearly $40,000 owed to him for pool construction on the Little St. James property. Rex Walterman referred to Epstein as that bastard. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking, because there's no way I'm going to read the rest of this shit. Okay, here's what I'm thinking. So when they get to this point, remember Lutnick? I think he did a hearing today or yesterday. Anyway, he was like, oh, I thought he was a piece of shit, and blah, blah, blah. And then he winds up meeting him again, like going out to dinner and then all this other stuff, right? So here's what I'm thinking. Oh, all right. I want to throw this out there because I was thinking about it when I was watching it. Everybody was like, well, why would he say that to you? He was like, oh, I was like, something about the massage. And then he kind of came in as like, the good guy. And he was like, oh, and I felt so weird. And I told my wife we got to leave. And then we were just like, we're never going to talk to him again. Okay. This is why he did that. I think Lexner was telling the truth when he said that. But this is why I think Epstein said it. Because a creep can spot a creep. I think he pulled that shit every time he knew they were creeps. His job was to spot them. His job was to get them to confide in him. He knew this dude was gonna get down. And he did. That's what they do. If I was a drug dealer and you had a nun outfit and then there was another guy with a crack pipe in his hand, that's super obvious. But if I'm a drug dealer and I was an addict, I could spot another addict. I'll know you're gonna buy from me. He only pursued the people he knew were deviant as it is. He knew to bring that up to Lutnick. Lutnick just didn't think it was going to blow up in his face. First thing I thought was, is he going to tell them why he said that? He was like, I just thought it was so weird. Nah, it wasn't weird. He knew you were a mark. That's it. He knew exactly what you were going to do. He put it in your face to just give you a heads up. Hey, you ever want to party? You look like a piece of shit. You can come over to my house and pretty much do whatever you want. That's what Lutnick was not expecting to happen. He thought he was in the clear. And obviously he wasn't. Okay. Okay. He said he had a lot of money. Bateman said matter-of-factly by phone from St. Croix, people with a lot of money can buy islands. We already know that. Like I said, this was originally published in the Miami Herald, October 1st, 2019. Everybody knew. Nobody said anything. This dude did not snitch because he was trying to do the right thing, which we already know. He won't be able to do the right thing if it punched them in the face. So, yeah, I think that's it for today. I hope you learned something. Another island. The guy that talked to him. See? That's what it is. Okay, remember I said that my screen kept bugging out? I know why it's doing that. So I'm on DuckDuckGo, and I have my VPN on, and the website I'm on. Okay, so I wish I could show it to you. The website I'm on right now is called the Jerusalem Post. And yes. Holy shit. Hold on. Okay, either one copied off the other. Whatever. The one I read to you is the Miami Herald. But apparently the Jerusalem Post also wrote almost something exactly in the same year. Remember I kept saying there's something going on with my screen and why it's like blacked out right now? Like I said, I'm on DuckDuckGo and my VPN is on. And it's like the top of the screen is flickering and I just caught it. And it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and it went up to like 29 and it said blockers. Like this shit is trying to find out exactly where I'm at. Yeah, good luck with that. I'm gonna go ahead and shut that off. Alright, see how my screen just got better? Look at that. I just shut down the site. Anyway. Okay, this is what we got so far. Hold on. Make sure I do like a little thing. Okay, by the way, I really have to throw this out there. A lot of this stuff I talk about now, I have a Rumble page. I just started Substack. I love Substack. I hope you can follow me there. It's Trinity Esoteric Truth Radio on Substack. Because I get to write articles. Like, I really have a good time there. And I'm just starting to build. And I really, 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 really love it there. I'm eventually going to start doing lives there. One, because they're not gonna make me go through this. I'm doing this as a live. But this is, like, my content is getting a little too deep for regular social media, especially places like Facebook. So I'm on the fence. Anyway, I have a Rumble account, I have Esoteric Truth Radio, Facebook, Lovespiracy. I just shut that down a couple of weeks ago so I could concentrate on this. And that's LOVESCIRACY. So it's like love and conspiracy in one word. That's also, so anytime I post something on Substack, it posts on Lovespiracy for me. And I've been getting more views there for some reason. And I only had like 20 followers there. And I got 3 over the last week. And I didn't realize it was because Substack's taking all my stuff and literally putting it there for me. So people are starting to watch it there. I have a Rumble account. That's Trinity Lovespiracy as well. You can go to any of these things. I think I said Esoteric Truth Radio on YouTube. I've got videos there from like 2013. There's nothing that I've been saying now that I haven't been saying. So if you ever want to just, I don't know, go watch something that's kind of old and interesting, but the information is there. When somebody's like, oh, that can't possibly be. Like, yeah, it absolutely is. It absolutely is. Here's where it is. And hey, could you look at the bottom of the date? This one, when I bring stuff up to you guys, I try to tell you when it came out. Because I think that's so important. Not just the article itself, but when it was actually talked about. When I write stuff, like the last stuff I've been doing this week, if I go on YouTube and I see some of the people that I like, I know what I wrote 2 days ago and they're just bringing it up. And I don't know if it's because they're paying attention to clickbait and they're just trying to get views and they're just, I'm not saying the same shit. And then when they find out something new and I'm like, no duh, I talked about that the other day. And it's because they're so busy just trying to be the first one to tell you what they saw on TV, then they're not telling you anything else. So if you want, you can go back to my old pages and just go and look through there. I got stuff with a guy named Canadian. He's the reptile guy. No, I'm sorry. He'd be pissed if he heard me say that. The reptilian guy. I was that interview was the first one he had ever done. He's got his own YouTube channel now. I have one with documentarians. I got one with an Australian whistleblower. I love her. She broke open cases in Australia about the Catholic Church. She used to be an ex-police officer. She's amazing. I got a bunch of shows with her. Yeah. You can find my stuff everywhere. So, thank you for spending time with me. Okay, let me go see how I got caught up. I'm going to go over really quick because this is what I put. All right, so we covered 10 years with the girlfriend, Shuliak. So that's Shuliak. Her connection with... Oh, I don't think I covered that. Okay. I'm going to cover this really quick. Belarus, Russia. Her family's over there. Her family has something to do with the connection of Russia. I forgot to cover that because I'm ridiculous. Anyway, her connect, she's like the middleman between what Epstein was doing, espionage, corporate. Oh, no, I wasn't going to say it right. I really got to find a way to put... Oh, there it is. I said it right. Compromat. Man, I know I'm saying that wrong. Anyway, everything that was happening with that, she had an involvement. That's why her nickname was Inspector, because she was the one that was able to control everything. So she gave him the connect, and Belarus, she was the one that... I want to say maybe she was the honeypot in some way. Anyway, so she was the one that was in the middle with that. And I'm sure she knew about, which countries he was working for. Some people are saying it's Israel. Some are saying South America. Some are saying that it's obviously here in the U.S. and Russia. You want my opinion? It's all of them. This dude had no bounds. There were no bounds. He was in all of it. We need to just wrap our heads around that. He was in everything. So, let's see. Compromat. Okay, all of his wives, the Marla Maples thing. I don't know if she's still alive. I wonder if she's still alive. The DP World. His third island. No, his second island. His third property that we know of. Because if the Sultan did that, he's got to have done it with a whole bunch of other people. And the people that are like, oh, he's a bastard, he took money. I'm sure that was extortion money. So they're not going to tell you that. I'm sure he took money, but I'm sure it was blackmail money. But he's dead now, so you got to take their word for it. I can guarantee you, if he had $100 million and all these properties that he just gave to his girlfriend, you think he needed just stupid $48,000? No. He needed some way to have it connect. He needed to say just a basic transaction. That's it. Just to prove that it happened. And he did it, and he did it well. So shit's going to keep going out of control. I will be back. I have an appointment tomorrow. Nope. Why did I think it was Thursday? Anyway, I forget that I'm still sitting here. I'm going to go make some dinner. Thanks for being a part of my lives. I am going to go put this on Substack. It'll be up on my Lovespiracy page. Remember, 48 hours. It's Wednesday. Friday, I will be taking this down. Friday, I will. You know I'm Trinity, right? You're listening to Esoteric Truth Radio? All right. All right. Sorry about my lighting. Shit's horrific. I think that's really what's hurting my eyes. Doesn't have a cover. It's stressing me out. Anyway, love you guys. Thanks for spending some time with me today. like I said, I hope you learned something new. I hope you pretty much kind of see a little bit more of the connect before they come out with more information that's going to distract you. Try to look up some of my other stuff. I mean, if you could put a puzzle together, you could kind of figure out where the hell I'm going with this. But every single thing I talk about, I'm telling you, it connects. All of it connects. All of it has random pieces that come out of my mouth sometimes for hours. I know I didn't do a long show today. I really wish they would tell me on the screen. All right, it came at 7. Oh shit, only an hour and some change. That's awesome. Anyway, so let's do our thing. Let's do our research. Like I told you the other day, we need to stay calm. When we have this information, nothing's going to surprise us. We'll be able to say, okay, that's old news. What's next? If we don't know about this stuff, everything that he's doing right now, we're going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe it, the alien babies. Yeah, you could have read. I don't do shows about that, but Jesus Christ, like the real tinfoil hat, people know exactly what's happening. I haven't read or saw anything that I wasn't fully aware of. Not a damn thing. None of it surprised me. No, that's bullshit. You know what surprised me? The second island. That threw me off a little bit. I didn't care about the branch, and I didn't care about the island. But this, yeah. I don't know why nobody's talking about this one either. Hey, but remember you heard it from here. Today is 8/25. It's Wednesday. I think it's the 11th. Anyway, when you hear it again, try to figure out when it is. Because this should terrify everybody. It really should. This kind of broadens him and Dubai and fuck, everybody's in on it. Alright, I'm just zoning out at this point. Thank you for dealing with this today. Next time you see me, I will have my hat back on and my favorite t-shirt and my favorite hat. So I'm just glad I got here in time. And I should have my light fixed so it's not hurting my eyes so much. And I will talk to you guys later. Have a good one, by the way. I should see you Friday. Yeah, Friday. All right. Have a good one, guys. See you later.